Namaste. Today I'm going to have a presentation on narrative inquiry on teachers' perception and practice of formative assessment in grade 11. The content of my presentations are background of the study, purpose of the study, research questions, literature review, methodology, methods of data collection, data analysis, ethical consideration, narrative and findings, conclusions, followed by the references. So, to talk about the topic, narrative inquiry on teachers' perception and practice of formative assessment in grade 11. While talking about the background of the study, since last year, for the first time, the government of Nepal has introduced formative assessment in grade 11 and 12. This is the new practice for the teachers, for the learners, and for the college itself. The new curriculum demands certain criteria while assessing the students. Formative assessment especially looks for the continuous performance of the students, how they have been doing during the learning process. So it is more concentrated on process rather than at the end. In conventional education, 3 hours examination is taken, and at the last, how is the outcome that is being checked. But in formative assessment, it goes on continuously during the learning process. So, how is the performance of the students? How is their attendance? How do they participate in the classroom activities? All they are put into consideration while assessing them. And on that basis, the learning outcome is being assessed. So, the government has introduced through the new curriculum this formally this formative assessment, but this is the new practice. So the successful implementation lies on how the teachers have understood it, how are they skilled, how knowledgeable they are, and how do they practice in the classroom. It makes the sense. That's why this project wishes to explore what is the perception of a teachers about the formative assessment and how they have been practicing it in their classroom. So the research questions are obvious. How did teachers perceive and practice formative assessment in their classroom? And what are the obstacles they are facing to implement formative assessment in their classroom? To talk about some literature review, if we wish to discover the truth about the educational system, just look into its assessment procedures. That means to say that assessment system can be the window to look into the whole educational process. How is the pedagogy? How is the curriculum itself? And likewise, formative test is just like taking the soup by the cook, and then summative test means the soup taken by the guest. That means the cook can improve after taking the test. And formative assessment is all about the process. How is the learning going on? It put into consideration, especially those process. And these things are owned now by the government. And the government has given so clear instruction on how to apply the formative assessment, like homework, classwork, experimental and project work, community work, extracurricular activities, unit exam, monthly and quarterly exams. These are the some criteria the present curriculum has prescribed to go for formative assessment. And I'm doing this project under the qualitative paradigm and post-positivist and narrative inquiry. It means to say that for me, the truth has a multi layers and it is subjective, and we can reach to the truth through the narrative of the participants. We can listen their stories, and those stories tell us the different dimensions about their experiences, and we can dig out what actually is being practiced. For that reason, I have chosen narrative inquiry. And while doing collecting the data, I will follow field visit, interview, uh, for talks in Viber calls, and some virtual meeting like in Zooms. In such a way, I will have the access to the my participants. I will collect, especially their stories related to their formative assessment, how they have practiced in the classroom, what they have understood about it, how they have taken it. These will be my questions to them. And once I collect the stories, I develop them in a narrative forms, and then I will analyze from the theory of formative assessment. So, what exactly the formative assessment? I will borrow some ideas from the scholars, and then I will apply whether they are being practiced in the classroom accordingly or not. And while choosing the participants, I am trying my best to be more inclusive. I have chosen my participants from urban area, from rural area, some males and females, and private schools and government schools, and then even geographically also inside the valley, outside the valley, and then government has graded the school grade A, grade B, and I have brought from the both grades. So in such a way, I want to ensure whatever the data I have collected, it covers all those ideas, and it takes overall aspects about the formative assessment. And to talk about the ethical consideration, I have not forced any my participants. I have taken the consent from them, and then I have ensured that whatever the data I have collected, it will completely remain confidential. And once I collect the data, I will develop the narratives, and then from those narratives, I have drawn the conclusion. Uh, Partially, formative assessment has been practiced. It has not been practiced with the true spirit of its principle and theory. It has become more formalities, and it is because of lack of infrastructures and lack of trainings. These are the four findings. These are my preliminary four findings. I'm in the process still. Now, these are my conclusions. Thank you.